Okay.
All right.
All right. We got a special Backcountry BSing. We got a high-tech BSing today.
High-tech BSing.
We've got
Fancy.
pretty famous YouTuber today.
Very famous.
We've got Devin from Backcountry Exposure.
Yes.
Devin, thank you so much for
Yeah.
calling in
Yeah.
and willing to
Glad to
deal
be
with the
time zone change.
time zone change and the audio visual thing we're doing here. But I like being able to see you.
Yeah, that's way better than just a phone call.
Yeah. And you got the nice backdrop behind you.
Yeah.
I know. Look at this. Like,
What is that? Oh, nice.
Capitol Reef National Park.
Oh, and you've got the professional, like, I don't know what those are called in front of the microphone.
That.
Oh, the pop filter.
Yeah,
Pop
Prince Pop,
filter.
yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much for coming. This is a pretty cool one for us, and I told myself I would go as long as possible before bringing up hot tents.
So we made it
I was
2
just about to
minutes.
say, like, are we just gonna have a discussion about hot tents today?
No.
Yeah, can
There's
you walk us through?
There's actual stuff
what-
I want to talk to you about before we get there.
What do we need to buy?
Because when we get to hot tents, it's over. No, I want to open this up. You are one of the few people, at least we've talked to, where at least I think you have like a career in the outdoors, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Can you talk to us a little about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, primarily, I work in the climbing industry.
Okay.
So I manage an indoor climbing gym.
Oh, wow.
That's here kind of local. And we're a pretty big operation. We've got 6 facilities.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
In Utah, Seattle, and Houston. So I manage one of the 6 locations.
So you're ripped.
So you're jacked. How
No, I won't take my shirt off to
did
prove
you
it.
you could, and everybody would see it. So did you get into climbing first?
Well, no, not really. I mean, climbing was like probably one of the first outdoor activities that I chose to do for myself, as opposed to going out on like family camping trips or out with friends and that kind of thing. And I started climbing 20 years ago.
So
Oh, wow.
did you get in? Did you know that you wanted to be in this industry, or did it just kind of naturally end up that way?
I mean, it just kind of ended up that way. So initially, so I started climbing, and then I went and did like a 2-year mission thing for my church.
Okay.
And then I came back and was like, well, I guess I should go to college. And I had always been really interested in photography. So I thought that like photography was going to be like my path for a long time. And I did 2 years of college as a photography degree.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, nah, I don't really want to work for myself. I just like freelance through my life. So I had a friend that was in an outdoor recreation management program at the same university. And she was like, you love the outdoors. You should just do this program because you're going to end up in the outdoors anyway. And I'm like, okay. So switch majors, and then too many years later, finally graduated outdoor recreation management. So that's kind of been like, this is what I'm doing. And college really did that. But I've always been, I've been family camping trips, or family vacations were camping trips.
Yeah.
Well, you can definitely see like your photography experience and the quality in your videos.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh,
And
thanks.
I think it's so cool as someone whose like professional life couldn't be further from the outdoors. It's cool that you found a way to do that, especially through college. Like, I mean, in Ohio, there aren't many colleges that have outdoor programs like that. Like we went to when we went to Isle Royale a couple years ago. We stayed up in Upper Michigan for a night before we went over there, and there was a university called like Michigan Tech, like in the UP in Michigan, and like everybody out there was going there for like either like hunting related things or outdoor recreating things,
Just
or like
management,
land management. And it was like I don't know why I never, and I applied and was accepted to the University of Colorado at Boulder, and I didn't go. But I was like, man, that would have been interesting had I actually been able to get into the industry from like a professional side. Oh, we're like recreational outdoorsy people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so cool to me that you're able now. Another thing I was thinking about for this podcast was like, do you think you're more prone to like burning out or something because like your whole life is like that?
Well, I mean, yes and no, but I am really specific on making sure that what I'm doing is different from what I do like full-time work. So an example is I teach intro to backpacking at the university that I graduated from.
That is
Professor
awesome.
Devin.
Which is a really
do you
cool
make everybody
gig. Like,
subscribe before you start lecturing?
like homework, you have to watch your channel.
This is your homework. Watch all of my videos. No, but the like my boss at the university, she was like, "Well, we want you to teach the climbing class as well," and I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that."
Okay, so you kind of set like a limit there.
Yeah, I'm working full time in the climbing industry, and then bring it outside of what I'm doing for my full time work. So, I mean, I'm always doing different kinds of things. Like, I'm big into firearms. I'm big into fly fishing now, and so I'm doing a bunch of activities that keep it different. And I'll like focus for a period of time on one activity, or I'll like make sure that
you mix it up.
I'm only gonna do family camping trips primarily this year, and less backpacking trips and that kind of stuff. That just, I don't know. I just love being outside, so I don't see myself getting burnt out.
Can you please do some fly fishing videos?
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
We've spent some time fly fishing. I wouldn't say we're past the beginner stage though.
We're
like
past the beginner stage.
Beginner.
We're like solid mediocre fly fishermen. Like our dad was really into it, so we started fly fishing probably like 10 years ago, but not like serious, not like we live in Utah serious about it. You know?
We don't have very many good rivers.
A lot of good fishing all over the place. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been like spinner fishing
Right.
for as long as I've been alive, basically. But it was just this year that I first bought a fly rod. So,
but if you're gonna be like living where you are, like, you know, backpacking in the Uintas or something like that, you got to take advantage of those lakes and streams.
Oh,
Do you so one thing, you know, we've started to try to do more is incorporate fishing into our backpacking. Is that something you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get an opportunity because I wanted to this season, but I didn't go on as many Uinta backpacking trips as I had planned. And I think it was like September before I even bought the fly rod. And then I've like kind of made a decision that I'm not going to film my student trips anymore. So I did a ton of fishing on that trip that would have been really cool to film, but I'm like, I'm not going to film my student trips.
Yeah.
So, and at that point, like by the time, well, the only other trip I did was summiting Utah's highest peak, Kings Peak, with my wife, which was a blast, but we didn't do any fishing on that trip. It was like solely for the point of going up. And then after that, I mean, you're so close to winter that the temperatures, even if there's not snow up there, it's not worth it.
Yeah. We jumped the gun on this because we always start this podcast with the same question.
Yeah.
How did you get into backpacking? Out of all your outdoor hobbies?
I mean, I don't even know, like, really. Well, I do know where it started because I know the first trip that I went on, I think I was 7 or 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
And went with my grandpa up, like, just a local trail. And I talked about this, like, in the podcast episode.
Oh, yeah. We gotta, we'll pump your, we'll get to your podcast. I want to get to that too, but keep going.
Yeah. But I want to say that really was the first backpacking trip, even though, I mean, we probably hiked less than 4 miles total. But I mean, it's still backpacking.
It's pretty good for a year 7.
But I mean, I've been camping as long as I've been alive. Like my parents took me out as a young kid. So
So what is it about backpacking specifically that you like versus all the other outdoor recreating that you do?
It's mostly, as of late, it's become the ability to like explore new areas
Yeah.
and get into places that a vehicle can't get into.
Right.
And that's why I've become so obsessed with the desert of Utah, because there are incredible canyons that you just, I mean, Colorado kind of has the same thing, and Arizona a little bit, but like Utah is insane with like high desert, just the canyons and the scenery, the places you can explore and not see people for days is, and I mean, they're not established trails. They're not, you're just following this river drainage down a canyon.
That's so cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
How much would you hate it if you lived in Ohio like us?
Come on.
I mean, we're just so jealous of the accessibility you guys have out there. It's freaking incredible. It's awesome that you take advantage of it too.
Yeah. So I lived in New England for 2 years.
Oh, I didn't know
have
that.
like a little bit of perspective of what, I mean, the East Coast and that area is like. And I don't know. I mean, in the White Mountains.
Oh, that's real.
If those were in my backyard, I would be freaking psyched to have that. But I mean, I don't know anything about Ohio other than it's like a political nightmare
not as bad as Iowa, but
it's like what we say is like, hey, we're not Indiana. We've got more outdoor stuff than Indiana, at least in Illinois. But other than that, I mean, it's even like New England. You've got the Whites, you've got Maine, you've got Vermont, you've got some pretty legit stuff. Ohio, like we got a little bit in southern Ohio. Like we have one national forest, which is better than 0 national forests.
Right.
And at least like where we live, it's only like an hour to get somewhere where you can actually get in there. But it's not like I was out in like Tahoe. We were out in Colorado, and like watching your videos out in Utah. I mean, it's almost like a different world to us.
Well, yeah, and it's funny for me to like sit on YouTube and watch everybody's videos because
these like losers.
I feel like I have every like east of the Mississippi location memorized.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna go out east, I'm gonna hike in the Smokies or like Laurel Highlands or like Lake Vesuvius, like all of these.
And it's all gonna look like it's just a green tunnel.
You'll be like, why did I come out here? What is if you did have to come out east here, and I don't mean New England, like Midwest, where would you want to go?
Ooh. I mean, the Smokies are enticing, and I wouldn't ever film this trip because it's overdone, but probably the Red River Gorge.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly because, like, I would be able to...
I'd want to see a trip that you filmed there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's overdone.
But I would be able to kill, like, 2 birds with 1 stone because the Red River Gorge is, like, world-class climbing destination. So...
There's a lot of...
I actually didn't...
Backpack.
I didn't really know that. I'd heard of it before we went there, and then we went there like a month ago, and there were climbers everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everywhere.
A lot of people live in the van life there.
A lot of people live in the climbing van life there, and like it was cool to see. I mean, there were like people effectively backpacking with climbing gear. Which I thought that was really cool, but I had no idea it was such. Is it really like? I mean, you live in obviously like a premier outdoor place. Is Red River Gorge like nationally known as that good of a climbing spot?
I mean, it's world renowned.
Really?
Wow.
Like people travel from all over to climb at the Red.
Really?
Wow, I had no idea.
Is that now? Why? This is a stupid question, but like, why Red River Gorge? Why is it that premier?
I mean, I haven't been there, so I can't like really speak to it on like a personal level, but I mean the quality of the rock is one thing, and there's a lot of pretty long, like tall cliffs or crags as climbers would call them. and there's a lot of hard climbing in there as well.
Okay. I didn't realize it was like world renowned.
No, I didn't either, but it makes sense seeing all those vans
God,
there.
we got to go down there more. Not that we climb.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I mean, I wouldn't put it on the same level as Yosemite or like Chamonix in France or
Okay.
like those kind of places. But I mean, we even have canyons here in Utah that people travel from Europe and stuff to come climb in. So,
so speaking of now, like the West Coast area, outside of Utah, what's your favorite place to backpack out there?
that's not even really a fair question because
These are
the
deep
percentage
questions.
of backpacking trips
I
that
know.
I've spent outside of Utah.
I know. That's why I had to take Utah off of the choice.
I mean, it would be Wyoming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because that's the only other place outside of Utah that I've legitimately backpacked.
Okay. No California yet,
No.
or Pacific Northwest.
Well, yeah, now that you say that, the
You
two
have-
trips that I spent in Olympic this year.
Oh, that's
were-
right. Yeah, you went to Olympic. Yeah. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. I remember seeing that. God, we've never been there.
Even though those trips were like kind of afterthought trips because they weren't the reason that I was out there.
Yeah. God, that's sweet.
But yeah, Olympic National Park is insane. It's incredible.
What do you have, if you can talk about it, what do you have on the docket? Anything for next year
Yeah.
that you can talk about if you would like to?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't ever have like secret stuff that I'm planning.
We don't either.
I don't think I'm important enough for.
We don't either.
I'm planning all of these things, like Darwin or Dixie or
Yeah.
whatever. But no, I've got a big trip that I'm planning as kind of like a co-instructor
Okay.
to do with my boss at the university. We're going to do the Perea River Canyon, which is just under 50 miles through just an incredibly beautiful desert canyon.
Is that in Utah?
What's that?
Is that in Utah?
It's most of it's in Utah, but it also drops down to Arizona.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's in the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument area, and like Buckskin Gulch is the like 12-mile long slot canyon that is like the world's longest slot canyon.
Oh.
So is this like
In that area too.
is this the type of environment where you're like wading through the rivers a lot of times and like going in like that like really thin canyons?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, most of this is like, I mean, in places it's only 20 feet wide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those trips look awesome where everybody's just backpacking and you're like in waist deep water like a good chunk of the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So when you're talking about these trips through the university, is this is like students who sign up to take your class, and like as a part of that class, you guys go on a trip? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so it's basically my final.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So, like, if you don't come on the trip, you don't pass the class.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
A random question. So
Yeah,
you get paid for this?
I do.
He's a
So, yeah,
professor.
I'm like, I'm on staff as an adjunct instructor.
Yeah. So do you have to like do you have to do like a bunch of like group cooking or something, or is it just kind of like everybody's on their own?
Yeah. I said that's a good question.
Well, I've experimented with a lot of different things because I think spring will be my 6th semester teaching. So I've done everything from like you need to cook as a group and you need to do fancy stuff like no mountain house meals or no like meals in a bag to like I don't care, just bring food
Just
that
don't
you
die.
want to eat. Yeah.
You ever
It's kinda
have you ever been in like a tricky or difficult situation on one of these trips where maybe something's gone a little awry or maybe I don't want to say
That's a
quite
good
an
question.
emergency
Yeah.
situation, but maybe something that tests your knowledge?
I mean, well, there.
Okay, that means there's a good
You know,
story.
like,
That means there's a good story.
Yeah, so you know those like baseball bat size salamis?
Yes.
Like the dry
Like a
salami.
big summer sausage.
We know them well.
Yeah, big summer sausage.
Yeah. Tell me somebody just wanted
I
to
had
eat
a
that for
student-
two straight days.
I had a student that brought 2 of them
That's got to be 20 pounds or something.
on a weekend trip, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And he went through one of them in less than 12 hours.
That's gotta hurt. That's gonna hurt.
Whoa.
That's gonna hurt.
Yeah. And so we were like, the next day, right before bedtime, we're like, where is this kid?
Oh, I know where he was.
He would like come back and he'd be like, oh no. And then run back and go dig another cat hole.
Oh,
Like,
God.
He was
Went
digging
back
a
and
lot of
forth,
cat holes.
And I mean, for me, as like, so I have my like wilderness first responder certification. So I'm like immediately thinking, oh man, he is like defecating so much. Like I've got to feed that kid so much water.
Yeah, he's gonna be
Yeah.
dehydrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably so dehydrated
Yeah.
from the amount of salt that's in those.
Yeah.
It was kind of a nightmare.
So that's a good, it kind of answers this question. So I was gonna ask you, what is the skill level of these kids?
I mean,
Like all over?
everything from I've never backpacked before in my life to people that have 8-pound base weights.
Oh, wow.
So do you have gear for them to use, or do they have to provide their own gear for this?
I mean, there's program gear, things like stove, cooking stuff, water filtration, and backpacks, but everything that is like your personal gear as well as sleeping gear and shelter, they have to supply.
And how many nights do you do with them? 2?
Yeah, just 2 nights, like Friday morning to Sunday evening.
And how could they fail this final? Do you have people fail?
No, because I just threaten them.
Is there ways for people to earn extra credit if their base weight's like below a certain like weight or something?
No, I approach it like.
Can Andy and I take it online and then just go backpacking with you guys?
Yeah. Can we get credit and we'll do it?
Yeah, good job. Come hang out. No, it's a matter of like, are you participating with the group?
Right.
Okay.
So if you're on the trip, I'm not going to fail somebody. But if you're just like a deadbeat and you're not participating, being part of like the group's social environment. So I like even say things like, you can bring your phone, but absolutely no music on the trail, no headphones,
okay.
no like we're out to be together as a group and none of this like isolation stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't control what they do inside their tents.
Yeah.
After like I say, okay, it's time for bed, let's go to bed. But because they're adults, I mean, they're college students.
Yeah.
Right? Everything from 18-year-old teenagers to like mid 40s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's sweet. I wish I could have taken a class like that.
Why can't we do that?
Because we live in Ohio. The universities don't offer that kind of stuff. They just don't. Even Ohio State, which is one of the biggest universities in the country, they don't really offer anything like that.
They have a skydiving class. I'm pretty sure that they have a backpacking class.
Yeah, it's easier to skydive, in Ohio than it is to backpack, probably. Okay, I've lasted 28 minutes without talking about hot tents, but it's time. And I just watched your last video with an even bigger. That's a bigger one, right?
Huge tent.
That's bigger than the normal one you have.
I will say, let me ask this question first, because this is an honest question. For Kevin and I to comfortably sleep in a hot tent, like what size hot tent would we need to buy? Like a 4-person? Because I see these 2-person
the
hot
one with
tents.
you and Corbin, the one I just watched with you and Corbin, not in the new one. Was that what number of people hot tent was that?
I think it's listed on their website as like a 4-person or 5-person.
So you guys seem to have plenty of
is-
room in there.
Yeah, I mean that thing is big. That was a big tent.
And the new one you have, what is that, a 6er?
Like from this last trip.
Yeah, like the really long and like the rectangular. It looked like rectangular. And you have the stove on one side. Is that a 6er or 5?
So that one's called the Twin Peak. If you didn't have the stove in that, you could probably sleep 7 people.
Because you had what? You had 4, 3 or 4?
There were three.
Three.
Of
That's right.
us.
You and the other two.
Yeah.
Right. So how did you get into this?
Well, so I should like kind of give a disclaimer that I haven't really talked about on my channel.
Okay. You don't have to. We're not live. We can cut this. We can cut stuff out.
Yeah, you're good. No, I'm fine to share. So I had reached out probably over a year ago to Lux Hiking Gear,
Okay.
and was just like striking up conversation and chatting with him, and eventually throughout the conversation it was like, well, why don't we do some like freelance work that more or less I was providing my time to produce videos. So if you go onto his channel,
I've watched
Yeah,
yours.
it's your videos, right?
I've seen your ads on Instagram of you setting it up for them, I think, too.
yeah. So I've been doing freelance work for Lux, and that's how I've like more or less acquired all of this stuff, because he'll send it to me to then make very specific videos for him.
Yeah.
That are more or less related to customer service. So
That's a fair trade-off, like producing videos for,
How long ago was
the
that?
use of products.
I mean, it's been over a year that I started doing stuff in like freelance work. So it more or less like he'll say, this is a video that I need. And then I basically produce exactly what he needs to. So I don't really have a lot of say.
Oh,
in,
okay.
Well, here's what I think the video should be about. I'm more or less been hired as a videographer,
Right.
to produce a piece of content for him.
Right.
So, yeah.
How awesome is it? I see it in the videos. You guys are just so warm and you're cooking on it. How much better is it than regular winter?
I mean,
backpacking?
if you live in such a cool area like Utah, like you got to take advantage of winter, and this is a way to be comfortable doing
like,
it.
does it make winter backpacking like not feel like winter backpacking?
No.
Okay.
Because it's still like cold outside of the tent. It's still snowy, and like you gotta have to manage everything the same way. And I think it's a little deceiving because it's like, oh, look at this amazing wood stove inside your tent. It's like so cozy.
Yeah.
And when you're in there, it really is, but
It's a lot of work.
it's a ton of work.
Yeah.
I mean, for me to set up that tent in my last video and to put the stove up, I mean,
Yeah. How long does that take?
the video made it look like 30 seconds.
Right.
But I mean, that was probably 2 hours.
Really?
Oh man.
Yeah.
But
But that was 2 hours of me also like moving the camera and like setting shots up. It's really, but that was also like processing wood. So it wasn't just like the full setup.
okay. Give me a feel for, because Andy and I have literally never been in one. I've seen one.
What kind of weights are you looking at
Yeah.
total for like a 4-person setup with stove?
So I mean, if we're using Lux as an example, because there's like Seek Outside
Right.
and
Yeah.
other options out there too, but Lux with their Octopeak, that would be a good 2-person lightweight. I want to say the tent itself is less than 40 ounces,
Okay.
which isn't bad.
No, it's not bad
Which
at
would
all.
be like comparable to, I think, the Cinnamon that Seek
Yeah.
Outside makes.
Yeah. Okay.
Same size,
Okay.
like concept. But your wood stove is where the biggest cost and weight comes
Yeah.
in. So you're at least, I want to say it's like 4 pounds without the chimney pipe.
How much is the pipe?
So another 2 pounds.
And then
So it's about, it's like 4 to 6 pounds.
So that's not bad at all.
That's not bad.
It's really not.
No.
And I mean, the titanium wood stove just like totally breaks down, really compact. I mean, it just slides against the back panel of my pack. But the other thing about it too is I don't ever, anytime I've taken the hot tent out, I'm in a framed pack.
Yeah.
Right. Do you make other people carry some of it? I've never seen some of that
in the past. I have, but for this trip, because I was meeting
Oh,
Corbin
right.
up there later,
That's right.
I carried the whole loot, which was 46 pounds.
Wait, was that the video where you made people guess your pack weight, or was that this most recent one?
Yeah, that was the video.
So that's what it was.
Yeah,
You're giving it. Okay, did someone guess it?
Yeah, there were a couple people, and I was like, okay, a few more people, and I didn't really in the video establish that I was only going to send out one or two like gifts to people.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to stop this now before like people get upset with me that, well, I guess 46 pounds.
Yeah.
Do you carry a carbon monoxide detector?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I see that in everybody's.
I did not know that. I mean, that makes sense.
I see that in a lot of people's hot tent stuff.
I think like in the video when I'm cooking, you can see it on the ground.
Have you ever had a problem with it?
No.
Do you do things differently to make sure there's like adequate airflow so that you won't have a problem? And do they recommend doing that? And do they really recommend? I've never heard that.
I see it in everybody's video.
But I've never seen seen on any of the manufacturers' websites that they recommend taking a carbon monoxide detector.
Yeah, well, at least for the tents that I have, the stove jack cover has like a warning label on it.
Oh, okay.
That's like the poison symbol, you know?
Okay. Have
So-
people died from that?
I don't know. I just see it in a lot of videos where people talk about it.
I mean, it makes sense.
But I mean, on the other side of it, like, I've never used a hot tent, but I feel like they're not like truly like 100% sealed off, so you are getting some draft through there.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, you are for sure.
But I mean, of course, if that is a risk, they don't weigh all that much. You might as well be
Right.
safe.
Oh, it's better than dying.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, what is the real temperature difference inside one of those?
Oh man, anywhere from 10 to 40 degrees difference.
Just depending on how much you got the stove going.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the size of the tent.
Right.
And how like sealed you have
Right.
everything, because well, and obviously down at the ground level below the stove it's going to be a lot colder.
Yeah.
But up like in the peak of the tent, we measured 70 degrees and it was 20 degrees outside.
Really?
So it was like in
You
that
got 50
aspect,
degrees.
50-degree difference. But I mean, where you're sleeping, it was probably only a 30-degree difference.
When you guys, like when you're ready for the night, do you just load that baby up and then just go to sleep?
Pretty much, yeah.
So no one's getting up and feeding it?
Yeah. The first time that I took it out, we did that. We just like constantly fed the stove and I was like, I didn't sleep.
Right.
So on this one, I spent more time building a really good coal base so that it would burn longer. And then we ended up waking up because Corbin wakes up really early in the morning.
Yeah.
Like he was having coffee at 4:00 in the morning.
Oh,
Whoa, okay.
All right,
All
Corbin.
right. I thought you meant like 6
I thought you meant like
a.m.
5 or 6.
It was like 4 a.m. and he's like
Just in the pitch black, making coffee.
making coffee.
How?
But he gets up super early for work, so
Okay, that makes sense.
How?
And I was like, "Whoa!"
Corbin,
So we
dude,
like
go back to
totally
sleep.
built the fire in the stove.
Oh, so how? This is something I wanted to ask you about. How? Like, is it as easy to cook on that thing as it looks?
Yeah,
Like, you just put it on there.
The temperature is not as hot as
Yeah.
if you're like right on coals or over a fire.
So
But I mean, I cook pork chops on it.
Yeah.
So
No problem. So
let's pretend. Well, you won't have to pretend, but it's your last day, and you're packing up. Like, how long does it take to cool down the stove to get it like prepped to like pack up and get out of there?
That's a good question.
well, I've only used the titanium stove, so
and that probably cools down pretty fast.
Yeah.
oh yeah, like within less than a minute.
Oh,
Okay.
After you dump the coals out.
Okay.
So on this trip, I had been feeding it a lot to get some footage with a lot of smoke coming
Yeah.
out of the pipe. And then once I was done with that, I just took it over to the fire pit we were using and then dumped it out. And it was still like you could cook on the coals that were in there.
Really?
Yeah.
It was that hot. But once it was all like cleaned out and dumped out and everything, I mean, it was
Are
you
you
just break it down and put it away.
are 100% of your winter trips with a hot tent now?
No, because I mean, it really depends on how much time I have.
Yeah.
It's like I did a solo overnight trip with the hot tent last year.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
And I think I got into camp at like 10 o'clock and I didn't go to bed till like 1 a.m.
Oh. That's a lot of work. But then like
It's
so we
a
were
ton of work because you got to like process wood.
Yeah.
You have to like get everything all set up, and building the stove takes a bit of time. And now that the stove is not brand new, it's warped a little bit.
Okay.
Like titanium warps.
Yeah.
So it's even more difficult to get the stove together.
Have you?
But
I mean, I don't want to put you in an awkward spot here, but have you used hot tents and stoves from different manufacturers other than Lux?
I've not.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you if you had to pick a hot tent that wasn't Lux, would it be a Seek Outside? I guess there's only like 3 companies that make them.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the hunting industry,
Yeah.
there's way more options. Well, I guess, I didn't personally use it, but I've like slept in an outfitter tent with a wood stove.
Okay. Oh,
If that
okay.
counts.
Okay.
I have
But-
I have a good friend in Salt Lake as well. I'm going to switch topics here for a second because
Fine.
Okay.
you dropped a word. Do you elk hunt?
I was gonna ask him that too.
I don't.
Oh.
Not currently.
It's actually whitetail season like right now for us.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I've gotten really, really interested in hunting this last year.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law is a huge hunter.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
great hunting out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got mule deer,
Yeah.
whitetail, elk, all the fun stuff.
God, Devin.
Moose.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Bears.
Right. But is that something you want to get into? Elk hunting?
Eventually, probably.
Okay. Have you eaten elk?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So good. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. That's like a dream for us. Like we've been looking at guided hunts in Colorado and Utah, guided elk hunts. And what I would like to do, I'm sure this is something you want to do, is I want to do a backpacking hunt.
Yeah, I got
Oh, that'd be rad.
Yeah.
my friend in Salt Lake.
People do 'em.
Yeah, my friend in Salt
yeah.
Lake sets
Yeah.
up a base camp.
Yeah, like literally hike in with the big hot tent.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right.
And then set up a base camp and then go glassing and do stuff from there.
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah. So funny story about that. When I think this was 2 years ago, when I did a trip in the Uintas up to Summit Ostler Peak. It's a video I did like forever ago, but my buddy Dane and I, sorry,
Fine.
gotta love this cold.
No, you're good.
You're good.
I'm glad you can. I'm just glad you can talk.
Yeah.
You sound good.
Yeah.
Other than that, you sound good.
Yeah. So on Ostler Peak, we were like headed up in the morning and we're making our way up this like off trail, going up the ridgeline to get up onto the top of the peak. And we came back down and there were a bunch of guys in camo that were like,
Oh,
watching
nice.
us. Like we walked over because we had to get water and
Yeah.
they were over by where we needed to get water. And they were like, were you the guys that were up on the peak? And we're like, yeah, were you watching us? Like,
Yep.
yeah, we're looking for goats. And we're like on a goat
Oh,
hunt.
they're goat
Okay.
hunting.
Yeah.
And they're like, there's no goats over there. So we just watched you climb the mountain.
They should go to a different location.
We've actually run into people hunting
All the
time in Ohio.
Yeah,
and
all
they're
the
always
time.
like, did you guys see any deer?
You guys see any bucks?
Did you guys see any deer? Where were they? Because we're coming like out, and we see people coming in, and we've like told them, we're like, yeah, we saw a couple ones, 2 miles in. or
So
something
how
like
does that, I mean, we don't have to get like rabbit hole on this, but how does that work? Because I know there's not a lot of public land in Ohio.
we backpack in a few areas that offer public hunting.
Yeah. So the
And-
state forests in Ohio
Okay.
They're usually fine.
And I think that there's some, even in the national forest, I think there's some opportunity here and there. But yeah, we've run across a lot of bow hunters, and I remember walking down Zaleski, and there's a bunch of turkey hunters in the spring.
Yeah, turkey hunting too is big here. And Andy and I are very spoiled in that when we hunt, we can hunt on private land.
Yeah,
because we know people.
Gotcha.
But there is a decent amount of public land hunting in Ohio.
Yeah, you just there's
surprisingly
there is a lot.
Hunting's just big in Ohio.
Yeah.
Turkey's a big.
Got nothing else to do.
Seriously,
you're not lying.
I know, but right. So Pennsylvania now has an elk season, very limited. Kentucky has an elk season, very limited. Wisconsin does now. They used to be in Ohio. So we're hoping I don't know, in 50 years maybe.
Every year black bears come a little bit more.
Yeah, we used to
black
have
bear.
not that we would really get into black bear hunting, but there used to be black bear, elk, everything in the Midwest, and they were hunted out in the 1800s, and now they're coming back, and there are black bear.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there used to be everything in Ohio and Illinois and Indiana, but market hunting in the 19th century really wiped a lot of that. But now it's coming back. But now bear are starting to come back. Slowly, and they're coming in from Pennsylvania and West Virginia.
Yeah.
So there's just, I don't know what the deer's like out there, but we got whitetail everywhere.
It's people joke it's almost not hunting. It's harvest
everywhere because there's no bears and obviously no mountain lions. Now we do have coyotes. They're making a pretty solid comeback in Ohio, so that's generally the only white-tailed deer predator.
A pack of coyotes now generally doesn't take down a deer.
They take down fawns all the time.
Right, fawns. Sorry, you're right.
I'm just saying there's no natural predators left for whitetail, so the population in Ohio is just booming.
It's out of control.
It's out of control, and obviously,
I think I had seen a video of urban bow hunting, people hunting. I don't know if it was in Ohio, but it was somewhere in the Midwest that it was
it's absurd.
It might have been a First Light video.
Okay. I ran this morning.
Really cool.
I ran this morning, and I live in downtown Columbus is 16th biggest city in the country, and I was running in downtown Columbus, and literally today an 8-pointer ran across the running path. Literally. and it's interesting because you cannot hunt at all in a city limit. Right. So they're totally accustomed to humans. It's like they're rubbing it in your face. I'm like, dude, it's hunting season. I'm like, just get outside the city a little bit. You're toast. It was a nice buck too.
Yeah.
It's actually terrifying when you're running, and I see them in the morning. And it's terrifying. They're big.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid of humans at all.
No.
And I've run into them all the time.
I ran into a 12-point on the running path last year in the fall.
Yeah, it's nuts. There's so many of them. They're just getting into the city. I don't know. But that's sweet. You should definitely do some backpacking hunting. That's something we've been
set up a huge
flirting with for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's would you ever get real crazy and get into bow hunting?
Well, that's what I've mostly been interested in.
Okay.
Because
just make it 100 times harder.
Well, there's that aspect, but there's the sportsmanship
for sure
of learning how to shoot a bow.
Right.
And the person that really got me interested in it, if you guys ever watched Crockett on YouTube,
I've never heard of him.
Channel, he's a local guy here in Utah that I actually met up with one time, but he had started sharing on his channel hey, I bought a bow, I'm learning how to shoot, and I was just like, whoa, this process is really freaking cool.
Yeah.
And you still have to learn how to shoot a rifle.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not
bows
as
so
difficult.
Hard. So hard.
Do you have any type of relationship with Firebox Grills at all? Do you watch their videos?
I do.
We're
my gosh,
big.
His
Really?
channel's so good.
Oh, his channel's so good. We're big fans of his.
I love his combination of fishing and backpacking.
Yeah. Well, and primarily where he goes is my favorite area of the state.
He's got goats now.
Yeah.
He's doing goat packing.
Those goats are so awesome.
I know they are.
So Steve lives in a really small town. It's their whole economy is turkey farms.
Oh.
Really?
There's Butterball
Oh, like
okay.
Thanksgiving turkey farms.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like there's like a Norbest. That's what it is. Norbest. You heard of that company? But they're like really, there's like hundreds of just massive turkey farms, and that's where he lives, in this like random place that
So
has all these turkey farms.
we don't use like a twig stove or like a wood stove
have
very
one.
often.
We use
but
them
we do use it
occasionally.
every once in a while, and I will say that I hate the one that we have. I'm gonna get one of his.
The only reason we got
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I think the concept of his product is really, really cool. But so I actually just sold it on eBay recently, but the Nano, the like little tiny backpacking size one.
Yeah.
And I, for the life of me, could never get that thing to work.
Yeah.
And I tried for like a lot of times off camera, because I'm like, I can't sit here and try to cook on a stove that on the video just constantly makes me look like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave up on that. I do want to try like his 5-inch.
Yeah, I don't want
one.
I've seen the Nano as well. I don't want the Nano. I want the larger one as well. I'm not too big of a fan of wood stoves, just because
in the summer it's different. It's so much easier in the summer here.
I like quick and easy, and I don't want soot all over the place. But I think I'm just a huge fan of his YouTube channel, so I just want to get one too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. His content is fantastic.
Yeah.
He does a really good job.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as like twig stoves that I've used, the Solo stove,
Yeah.
that thing is
that
impressive.
Is that kind of like the Bush Buddy look?
Yeah, that's like the Bush Buddy knockoff,
I mean,
right?
Bush Buddy will be passive aggressive about
Yes.
Right.
It's half the price.
stole my
It's a couple paint cans.
but it's a gasifier stove.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Nice.
Yeah.
We got a wood stove. We got the Fargo firebox grill, because we were going on a trip, and we were fishing, and there was a ban on all stoves other than twig burning backpacking stoves, and we were fishing, and we wanted to be able to.
There was a ban on campfires.
There's a ban on campfires, and there was a ban on everything that wasn't twig burning stoves. Not regulars. Anyway, we couldn't do campfires, and we were catching fish, and we wanted an easy way to cook fish, so that's how we went down like the path of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we've
gotcha.
I don't know if we've used it since.
No, I'm hesitant to call it a stove. It's just a container to put a fire on.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I mean, you could also load charcoal briquettes into it. That's what a lot of people do.
It doesn't.
Oh, it's one of those like collapsible.
Yes,
type of,
yeah, it's made by Fargo,
like
and
the
it's
Snow Peak or
yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been going for 53 minutes. So I do want to talk about your podcast and how
when I have not listened to your.
Do you have 2 episodes still, or do you have a third one? You have the intro, and then you have one, right? Last time I checked.
I've only had time to record the one episode.
Right.
I was supposed to record on Thursday, but I woke up with no voice.
Okay.
And
we're stealing your voice now, so
Yeah.
I know. No, so I've got a lot of things planned, but I mean, I can go into it, but
Yeah.
what was your question?
I mean, what inspired you to start? I mean, I've seen you talk about it on Facebook and stuff, but like, what was the final impetus for like, all right, it's podcast time?
I mean, well, I guess a little bit of it is avoiding burnout.
Right.
Yeah, changing it up.
So
Diversifying.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love learning new things.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people that if I'm like, oh, I want to buy this product, I will search every single corner of the internet to try to find as much information on that one thing as possible, to like research it in and out.
Yeah.
To the point that it's like, oh, cool, I got the product. That's fun.
Yeah.
Where like the researching and like the process of it was more interesting than actually having the product. So I just get obsessive about things, and I've wanted to, now that I've been doing YouTube for so long, I've wanted to have a different format to talk about backpacking, because what I have found with the YouTube videos is pretty often people are like, not interested in drawn out discussion type
Right. Yeah.
videos.
Yep.
That if you remove the video aspect to it and put it in a podcast form of audio only, then it's like, oh, this is all of a sudden interesting to listen to. Plus, you can add like a different narrative to it. You can be more like engaging in that aspect. And it's something that there are aspects of backpacking that I want to talk about, and I want to share, like education pieces, things that as I've been like writing curriculum for my classes or that kind of stuff, I'm like, let's do a podcast because I can focus on something different than what I'm trying to accomplish with my YouTube channel. And I can still talk about backpacking and accomplish all of those aspects, but it's just a different format to talk about backpacking. Really. So
I have,
I've had the idea in my head for a long time, and I finally was just like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Went bought the mic and just made it happen, basically.
At some point, I'm going to strip all the audio out of ours and put them actually up on a podcasting.
Oh, rad.
Yeah, I will. Just because a lot of people have asked us to do that, and I totally get it. Like, it's an easier way to consume it. If you're, you don't have to watch it. It's easier.
Yeah.
So I've been studying what you've been doing and might take some notes. That's why, I started asking you about that.
I'm just using YouTube University.
All right. I think we're going to wrap this up.
Well, no. He said he had some big ideas, big plans for the podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, let's hear about those before we leave.
Well, yeah, I guess I was just going to say that like on Thursday, I had a whole plan to interview Jason Wish.
Yeah.
Oh, Lance beat you to it.
I know. I saw that video. I was like, damn it, Lance.
You know what's funny is
That's great. You should still do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
We ran into Jason Wish at the YouTube meetup.
Oh my god!
After it,
dude.
And he looked so frail and
dead.
Beat up, and just like malnutrition.
He looked like a dude who just done a 330 mile FKT.
Did you watch his
Not yet.
video?
It's on the docket.
I've seen the trailer. I haven't
on the
seen.
docket.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't really spoil anything, but like, pay attention to day 1 versus day 5.
Yeah.
And just like the expressions in his face and just like his whole countenance and his demeanor is just like, this freaking sucks.
Yeah. I when I saw Jason, the first thing I told him, I was like, Jason, man, stop at McDonald's on the way home and crush some Big Macs, dude. Like you need to put some body fat back on.
Yeah. He did not look well.
Man, he's got some mental fortitude though.
Well, so I don't know how FKTs have all of a sudden, I feel like the big thing right now on YouTube is like FKTs or like things you see discussion about, as well as like the Camino, which I had never heard about before this year. Now it's like Camino.
Dixie's doing it. Everybody's doing it.
Like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
But I've been looking at, okay, maybe there's like some FKTs in Utah.
Nice.
And I'm like, well, freak yeah, I'll do an FKT. Well, the longest trail, well, I shouldn't say this. One of the longer trails is the Highline Trail in the Uintas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's 104 miles. You've probably watched like the Z-Packs.
I've watched Z-Packs.
And I've watched Tim Watson.
I've watched your stuff.
Yeah.
I've watched some other,
Well, so there's like a full documentary coming out on
Yeah.
that trail.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, I wonder what the FKT is for the Highline Trail. I got onto the fastest known time website. I'm like,
what is
this
it?
is the most discouraging thing ever.
Because he probably ran
it's less than 24 hours.
Yeah, and see that's the thing. Anything less than like 100 to 200 miles is going to be a trail runner that does it, not a backpacker.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different. So you got to pick a longer one. Sorry.
Well, so the only real other options would be, and there's not an FKT for the Hayduke.
Okay. I know what that is.
And that would be like the next. I don't know if I end up doing the Highline Trail, which is that really is like my big goal for 2020.
Nice.
I guess I haven't made an announcement that my first through hike will be the Highline Trail.
You just did.
But
Congrats.
We just did.
Congrats.
But that's not really talking about the podcast, but you asked the question.
No.
no,
The
hey.
way this works, hey, you got a podcast now. We just talk and then we see where it goes.
Yeah.
Do you want to wrap this up? We've been going for an hour.
Yeah, I
want to respect your time.
yeah,
You're good.
yeah, I really appreciate you doing this with us.
No, this is sweet. We've been watching your channel for a while.
Yeah.
And you always seem like a good dude.
Yeah.
So I wanted to
I
talk to you.
appreciate that. I try to be a good dude.
Everybody, check out Backcountry Exposure. Check out his podcast. We'll throw all the links down in the description.
Yep.
Please go check them out. Devin, thank you so much
Yeah.
for talking to us. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it,
you.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll definitely talk more.
We're going to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it
All
again
right.
for sure.
Sweet.